LeBron was trying to protect his son. This was no longer about a teammate. This is no longer about maybe a young guy on the team you're mentoring and you want the national media to stay out of it. LeBron felt personally attacked because a guy like Stephen A. Smith was not just coming at his son, but then also questioning LeBron James as a father. And if there's anything we know about LeBron, given his backstory and given how much he also promotes how great of a father he is and how much he is in the lives of all of his kids, I feel like that might have been the triggering point that made LeBron actually bark back at Stephen A., right? Like, I think it had less to do with him criticizing Bronny James. Everybody and their mama been saying that Bronny shouldn't be in a Lakers uniform. He should be playing in the G League. Stephen A. wasn't the first one to do that. What Stephen A. did on his podcast there in the clip we just played earlier was he questioned whether or not, or actually didn't question, he called into question the decision-making of LeBron by putting his son on this platform, putting him in a Lakers jersey, and allowing him to play in 13 regular season games. Like, that probably ticked off LeBron just as much as the other stuff.
But isn't that the exact opposite of what we're discussing? Like, LeBron, when Stephen A. said, keep Bronny out of this.
Yeah.
If you're saying what ticked LeBron off was Stephen A. saying, LeBron, you're smarter than this. Why are you doing this to your son?
Yeah.
Like that's calling out Bron, not Bronny.
But think about what he's calling out there. He's not calling out Bron, the basketball player. He's calling out Bron, the father. And when you question somebody's ability to parent their kids, they might, when LeBron said keep Bronny out of it, what he really was saying was keep my father-son relationship and the direction in which I'm telling my son to go out of it. Because, again, LeBron has to understand this. Bronny's an NBA player now. You did that. Bronny has a 4-year guaranteed contract as a late second-round pick, and he wouldn't have been in the NBA this early or playing minutes for a franchise that is coming. Look at the Western Conference standings. The Lakers are competing. They're contending for a championship this year.
No longer the rodeo coming to town.
No.
This actually matters.
This every minute matters for the Lakers from here all the way through, they hope, June. LeBron did put his son in this situation, but he did so because, like any other parent, if you have an opportunity to get your kid a better lifestyle, I think a lot of people are going to sign up to do so. LeBron did that. He did it as a father, not just as a basketball player, not just as a mentor or leader of the Lakers. And Stephen A. questioned his fatherhood. And I believe that is what made it personal, and that is why LeBron addressed him, whether or not LeBron admitted it in that interaction.
Bronny got the fast track to the NBA, a faster track than anybody else in the history of the league has been given. Because LeBron is unlike anybody else in the history of the NBA. The closest comparison, Michael Jordan. Different because LeBron has done it for longer.
Yeah.
So you cannot rebut and rebel against the media when the media uses that against you.
Well, I think you can. You're within your right to do so, but you're also within our right to criticize it. And I think that this interaction specifically, LeBron addressing Stephen A. so loudly and so critically that Stephen A. felt the need to lead off his show with it the next day and go into depth about it, it shows you that it got personal for both guys. It got personal for Stephen A. because LeBron tried to belittle him in that moment, right? He did that purposefully. Yeah. He knew there might be cameras out, and LeBron addressed him like that. There's a reason why he didn't call him up. There's a reason why he didn't do anything behind closed doors. He did it publicly, intentionally. I think I can agree to that. But his reasoning for doing so had a lot to do with, have you ever, parents hate, neither one of us are parents, so we can't really we can't really give a good enough perspective on this. But I do know how people with kids react when you call into question their parenting. That's their number one priority in life. I could walk in this office right now. We got a bunch of parents that are teammates here at ESPN West Palm. And I could line up all the guys in here, and I could slap them in the face. And you know what they would do? They might retort. Maybe they'll do what I did when Sugar Ray Leonard was punching me in the gut and just throw their hands up like, hey, what's going on? But they might feel a little disrespected. I think it would probably feel even more disrespectful to any of them if I started being critical of their parenting towards their children and also doing so publicly. Like talking about how good of a job you're doing as a father to your kid publicly, saying that you're making bad decisions and you're supposed to be the smartest person in the room when it comes to basketball, but you're putting your son in the worst possible position right now. That's what I believe made it personal for LeBron and made him react this way. This dude has played 20 years in this league. He's been in the national spotlight since he was 15 years old. He literally deals with everything. He has all of the thorns thrown into him at all times, and we've never really seen LeBron do that, what he did last night.
Sure, but it's not like Stephen A. wanted Bronny in the NBA. It's not like we all kind of collectively pressured LeBron to get Bronny in the NBA.
No, he wanted
This was
himself.
a LeBron James decision, and it was very public how LeBron wanted the Lakers to draft Bronny James. And that was a parental decision. And that was LeBron James specifically blending the lines between basketball and parenting.
And that's
basketball and family.
It's a gray area. It's a gray area for sure. And they're living within this gray area, both LeBron and Stephen A. Smith, and following an overtime win for the Lakers in which Luka was great. LeBron dropped 30+, and that team looks like a contender. There's a reason why this is the lead to today because there's a lot of gray area in it. I will say this. As much as I side with Stephen A. Smith's, his right to comment on both player personnel decisions, Bronny's he's an NBA player, so a player in the NBA's performance, as well as LeBron, because he's so involved in the player personnel, and he really did pressure the Lakers to draft Bronny, as well as LeBron's decision-making. The one caveat to this that I do think turned everything personal was when he specifically said, you are doing the wrong thing with your son. Take a listen again to Stephen A. Smith on his podcast because it's not about, hey, you might be setting up this set the wrong way. You might be, he said, you're failing at fatherhood right here.
LeBron is one of the top 2 greatest players in the history of the game. LeBron has forgotten more basketball than most people would know. So no matter what we think about Bronny, he knows more. But you see what you see. Bronny James has played in 13 NBA games. Ladies and gentlemen, he's averaging 0.3 points, 0.3 assists, and 0.4 rebounds.
You can't hear all in totality because he spent about 10 minutes total on this. So you don't hear the other specific points from his podcast back then on how he called into question LeBron putting his son in that position. But that is what he specifically said in other parts. And that is why I believe, too, there was a more docile Stephen A. Smith today in addressing it. He didn't come out and act as if LeBron acted out of character or in the wrong. The only thing he criticized was LeBron doing it publicly. He said, I totally understand him doing that as a father of daughters. I get that when you're a parent, you're going to protect your children. But I do believe that what both people would do in that scenario is protect their parenting. And when Stephen A. replied, today, he finished off his rebuttal to LeBron's confrontation by saying, I can't say I wouldn't have did the same. If Stephen A. is saying he might have done the same thing that LeBron James did, then damn it, I think LeBron might have been in the right.
No, I don't think so. I think that Stephen A. Smith getting into a war with the most influential basketball player of all time and realizing, okay, as much cachet and clout and pull I think I have as Stephen A. Smith, you enter the Thunderdome. You're going against LeBron James. You got to lay down your weapons and make a peace deal.
You know who would hate to hear you say that?
Who?
Kevin Durant. Because remember when KD and Stephen A. got into a beef, Stephen A. came on that set the next day and he was kicked up, feet on the table, come and see me. You don't want to pick this fight with me. I'm the man. Do you remember that?
I guess so.
This was post, I can't remember what year it was. I can't even remember what the conflict sparked from, but this was post KD's move from OKC to Golden State. I want to say around 2017 or so, 2018. And they got into a war of words, and there was zero back down from Stephen A. Zero. Didn't give a damn. And you're saying he has to show that kind of reverence to LeBron James.
Yes.
Now, nobody, again, of course, there's a chasm between LeBron and KD, but KD probably don't want to think it's that big. He don't want to think it's that big. If we played that clip, we'll find it in the break, and we'll play it on the other side, then hopefully we can find it. If we play that clip of how comfortable Stephen A. felt in his feud with Kevin Durant versus the clip of how concerned the highest paid man now in sports media, Stephen A. Smith, who just signed a $100 million deal to stay with ESPN and Disney, how concerned he sounded talking about LeBron James's little feud with him, then it'll all start making sense.